Poshmark. Okay, if you know me at all, and I know a lot of you do, you know that I love Poshmark for so many different reasons. First of all, it's a great way to offload some of those excess clothes that you've stockpiled because they're almost right but not quite right. Make some extra cash in your pocket, possibly use it to find the perfect thing that somebody else is selling. Poshmark's great for the planet. It's a great bargain. It's great for the planet. It's a great communal fashion experience. I've made a lot of money on Poshmark for myself and my clients, and I've spent a lot of money on Poshmark on some of the favorite items that I have in my wardrobe. So these are my 5 tips for getting the best deals and the best experience off of Poshmark. Tip number 1 is know what you're looking for. Poshmark is not the platform that you're going to be doing. You're not going to be going to Poshmark for impulse shopping. This is not a window shopping experience. These are individual sellers that are listing their individual items in a platform that gives them you the chance to look at all of them in one place, but obviously they're not together, right? So you're not going to be able to return anything, and you're not going to be able to try it on. So for all of those reasons, you got to be really clear to get the best bang for your buck, to have the most success. What are you looking for? So an example of this that I'm going to use throughout this conversation are these shorts. I was looking for a pair of high-waisted, elasticized linen blend shorts, right? So I was very specific to the thing I was looking for. Tip number 2, know your brands. Now, I ended up buying these shorts from a brand I didn't know because I did know all the things that I am going to cover in the next 3 steps. But your best bet is to look for brands you know and love. Shop Poshmark for brands that you've already had great experiences with before, or perhaps brands that you want to add more options to your wardrobe, but they're kind of expensive, right? Poshmark's a great place to get at least 20, 30, 50, 60% off retail. So my tip number 2, after you know very specifically what you are looking for, know very specifically which brands deliver that item most consistently. So the ideal answer for that is a brand that you know, love, and have purchased before, okay? So tip number 3 is know your measurements. All right, so now you know exactly what you're looking for. You know exactly what brand makes it really, really well. The next step is to know how that brand fits you. Some brands, the best brands, are consistent in their cuts season after season. But even consistent brands that have been in the marketplace for years switch up their fit models, right? So you need to take the time. You need to take the time to know your measurements, specifically your waist, your inseam, your bust. If you have, we all have unique body types. Sometimes we have a super long torso, or sometimes we have a short torso. So know the elements that give you a challenge when you're shopping for clothes, and make sure that the poster is able to provide the actual measurements for that item. Yes, it takes more time, but what do I always tell you? Great clothes are investments along lots of different criteria, not just money, time, effort, research. Measurements help this process. So know your measurements. So for the example of these shorts, please.
Okay, bye.
Know your measurements. I know that this particular style of short, looks really good on me. Because they cut right to the smallest part of my legs. They cover, for me, which is a challenge zone, is my lower belly. I have a particularly fit top ab section. So when I was looking for this type of short, I knew how the length that I needed from here to here. So even though I had never heard of this particular brand before, I was able to confidently buy the shorts because I knew my measurements really well. And I knew exactly what I was looking for, even if I didn't know the brand in this instance. All right, so number 4 is shop your personal style. So specifically, if you come to Poshmark and you're armed with things that you're looking for, brands that you know and love that execute your personal style. You know your measurements. You might be as lucky as I have been to find a handful of closets that don't belong to power sellers. So you're going to get on Poshmark, you're going to see that some women have hundreds of thousands of followers, and that's a great thing, right? And they have like thousands of listings, lots of selection, right? Well, they're not really selling their own clothes. I'm one of those people, but I'm telling for you to find the best, like the sweet spot for items, you want to align yourself with a seller who's selling her own clothes, a seller that has a very similar personal style as you, has very similar measurements, and is buying the same types of brands that you're shopping for. And if you can find a handful of gals that hit that criteria, you could have a lot of luck scoring some great items. So I want you to do a little bit deeper digging when you're looking for sellers to buy from. Now, this doesn't mean all of the time. If you know your brand, you know your measurements, you know what you're looking for, and you find the item hits all three of those boxes, 85% chance you're going to get what you want, right? But you really, really, really up the ante when you can find a seller who is a woman who has your measurements, who has your personal style, and she's simply selling the things that she has purchased and for whatever reason weren't the perfect things. Doesn't mean they're not the perfect things for you. So great example, I bought these shorts and these little Chanel flip-flops from the same seller because she had the perfect things. And even in looking at her other listings, I recognized that she and I were kind of going after the same look. So that's the sweet spot of Posh, aligning yourself with a seller sister. Okay, so when you're looking for a seller sister, she's got the same measurements or similar dress size, similar personal style, similar taste in brands. And then you can establish a relationship with her and bring me to my last point, my last tip for having a successful experience, getting the best deal on Poshmark is to make an offer. That's the platform it's for. It's collaborative. Make an offer. Just make sure that your offer is respectful. Don't go in at 50% or less. I think a great place to start is 20%. You'll get a feel for where she's going with it. If she's not comfortable with 20, she'll probably just go up a little bit. You can haggle. That's part of the experience. So don't forget to make an offer. So let me recap. Number 1, know exactly what you're looking for. Number 2, know your brands. Number 3, know your measurements. Number 4, find a style sister. And number 5, make an offer. And tell me what you find.